I was just gonna say, uh, I guess we can wait till around 1:45 to get more people. If we don't, I'll just go through what we have for today. Uh, Part of the plan for today was pretty much to have you guys finish part of the assignment this week. So we can pretty quickly go through that if that would help out. Would that be something you guys would be interested in?
Yeah.
Okay.
What is the assignment?
Yeah. So if you go on Google Classwork,
Give me just a sec.
yeah,
Google Classroom.
Google Classroom, yeah.
Video. Sorry.
That's a-
Make host. Oh wait, it's giving me the option now.
To co-host?
Yeah,
Oh, cool. That works.
yeah.
Okay. I'll share my screen real quick here. Is this working?
Yeah.
Okay. So for this week's assignment, actually first I'll get into this just because it's the other thing that's being due this week.
Mhm.
They're having you guys, I think you guys are already aware of it, they're doing the daily attendance surveys.
Uh-huh.
And all you have to do, and they'll get posted at 8 every day for this week. All you do is you click on it, you go through it, and then it's a bunch of really simple questions. This can take you like 20 seconds tops.
Oh, I
Already
did that.
Yeah. So that's going to be every day for this week. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So make sure to get those in before 3 p.m. But
Okay.
seems like you guys are good on that, so I'll just go past it.
Next week it'll be your second period.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, we got Beth coming in. Hey, Beth. I think she's connecting right now. We're just going through how our assignment's going to be for this week because we got kind of a small group. So yeah, I'll just cover how we're doing it. So if you guys go into classwork and shut down week 6, there'll be the Where Am I discussion videos. The instructions are already posted, but mainly what you're going to do is just click on the Google Doc. And oh, the Zoom thing is blocking all of this. Hold on. There we go. But yeah, you'll get on the Google Doc and it has the instructions on here. I won't go through all of it, but pretty much from each of these categories, which there are 5 of, you're going to choose 2 different videos from 2 different categories. At least one of the categories should be from your own race/ethnic group or a group you have connection to. And in these categories, there's a bunch of videos that kind of talk about the problems and challenges these groups have faced within like Sacramento and also California. And basically with this assignment, what you're gonna do is you'll watch the video, and then if you scroll to the bottom here, you have these discussion questions to fill out. And these are pretty straightforward. Now, see if I can do it on here.
Categories of video.
But yeah, that'll be the assignment for this week. I wanna make sure I can share this with audio. There we go. Okay, so hopefully that should be working with my computer audio. So since you guys are here, I was hoping we could just go through one together just so you guys can get part of this done already.
Sure.
So yeah. Is there any from these categories you guys are interested in or
Well,
you want to know about?
let's slow down a minute. How many groups
Sure.
do we need to choose?
So you choose 2 different videos, one from each category, or not one from each category, but you choose one from a category you have your own racial/ethnic connection to,
Mhm.
and another that could be another ethnic group you're interested in, or maybe you have some other connection to.
So
Does that make sense? I might be complicating that.
So each category you watch at least one video or 2.
No, so you choose in total, you're doing 2 videos.
Okay.
So but the videos should be from separate categories. So let's say I did one from category 2 on Hispanic and Latinos. If I were to do my second one, I wouldn't do it out of category 2. I would have to do it out of another one, say like Native American.
Okay, so once you watch both of those videos, then you do the questions.
Yeah. So, and it's in the same document. All you do is you fill out the questions here with the boxes, and there's 2 of them. So that's for each of the videos, and then you just submit it like any of the other assignments.
I'll probably do that right now so I can get out the way.
Yeah.
Okay. Does this assignment make sense though? Is there any
Yeah.
questions?
No.
Not really.
Okay. Now that we have the time though, I'm going to go through just one of them. And if you guys want, and I recommend it, you can fill this out alongside me. Or if you can't be like accessing like this specific document or whatever, you can also just do it on like, maybe write down a piece of paper, something like that, and then copy this in.
Okay.
Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Cool. I'm going to give you guys about like a minute to set up, and then we'll go straight into it. I got to get these Zoom things out of the way.
I haven't wrote anything on a paper for like a good few weeks.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, you're not really going to be writing here as much as typing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the other part that I want to clarify, and it does say it in the directions too, is that make sure that one of the videos does kind of ultimately represent your group, or at least as close to your group as you identify with. Mr. Whitaker and I wanted to do our best to try and represent all the different groups within our class. So you should be able to see your group represented. To be fair and accurate though, do you not see any of your groups represented here?
I see mine.
Okay. Chris, do you see yours? How you would identify?
I'm pretty sure Asian goes with Indian, so I'll just use that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Yvette, do you see a group that you can identify with?
Yes, Hispanic.
Excellent.
Cool.
Okay. Great.
Yeah. And then with the categories, we didn't try to we didn't want to just overload you guys with like too much content. So we did have to put it in these categories. But I'm going to go through one right now just so we make sure we know what we're doing. And as I said, you guys can fill this out alongside me, and hopefully that'll help you guys start on this. So the one I was going to do, unless is there any on here you guys want to do? Anything you're interested in?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter? Chris, how about you?
It doesn't matter.
Yvette?
Who's Xbox on? I heard that.
Yeah, if if we're good on that, I'll just click on the one that I found was pretty interesting. So I'm going to click on this video, and we approved all these, so hopefully there shouldn't be any issues with that. If there are, let us know as soon as possible so we can change that. So I'm just going to watch the video. I might pause it like once, but that'll be about it.
Okay.
And then give me a thumbs up, or actually, just say yes, or just let me know if you guys can hear the audio.
Okay.
Many Latin American immigrants believe coming to the United States means a better life for their children.
Is it sharing audio?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to keep going then.
But after arriving, many find themselves living in dangerous places, says Gary Orfield, co-director of the UCLA Civil Rights Project.
They're the places where the gangs are concentrated, the crime is concentrated, there's no real job market, and the schools are what we call dropout factories. You know, a lot of immigrant parents don't understand that.
In the U.S., the public school a student attends depends on where the child lives. Those in more affluent neighborhoods usually attend better public schools. According to the UCLA Civil Rights Project, in California, Latino students are the most segregated in the country.
And it's not just segregation by ethnic group, it's also economic segregation.
The UCLA Civil Rights Project says that in 1993, California Latinos attended schools where almost 60% of the student body was poor. By 2012, they were in schools where more than 70% of the students came from low-income homes. Critical care nurse Andrew Lara grew up in a predominantly Latino neighborhood in the 1980s. The solution in those days was to bus minority students like him to a mostly white school with a better academic program.
I think because I was better prepared academically, the notion of making that transition to college and doing well was easier for me than it was for my brother and sister who really never went on to college.
While Lara says busing students to a different school is a...
So I'm going to just pause it there just to kind of talk about something. Have you guys heard about busing?
No.
No.
Is this the first time you're hearing about it then?
Yeah.
So what the video talked about, what is busing then? It did go through it kind of quickly. It's a lot of words, but did anyone catch anything?
I did not catch anything.
Okay. So I'll explain busing to the best of my ability, and Mr. Williams, you can add in on here if there's anything I should add.
Okay.
But busing is pretty much referring to the practice of like taking students from typically poorer neighborhoods or more segregated neighborhoods, as the video talked about, busing those students to like the richer schools, which are typically going to be like the more white schools. So it's taking those, usually those minority students, those students of color, they're getting brought into like a richer school as a form of trying to desegregate things. But there's still issues in that. Did I miss anything on that, Mr. Williams? Or
All that I would say is, have you guys heard of the Supreme Court case Brown versus Board of Education?
No.
No.
No? Okay. Do you guys think that your class, like our classroom at Kennedy, do you think it looked the same way 60 years ago?
Most likely not.
All the kids would have been what?
White, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. The Supreme Court issued a ruling, Brown versus Board of Education, that basically said to all the schools across the country, you cannot segregate kids. There was a lot of resistance to that for a long time, but the court came down a lot harder and said, you have to do it. And one of the ways that they determined how to desegregate schools, and what that means is to make them more diverse, was people are living where they're already living, right?
Yeah.
So the only way that you can provide that kid, that poor Latino kid, an opportunity sometimes isn't at that that local school, but you send a bus to pick them up and take them over to your school. Now, to put it in more current context, Kennedy is in the middle of Pocket Greenhaven, correct? About 30 years ago, a little bit less, Kennedy started busing kids from Meadowview. Do you think that Kennedy was the same school after it started busing kids in from Meadowview?
No.
No.
No, and that's partly what we're looking at here when it talks about busing. Kids from different neighborhoods coming into what is considered, like the man who was just talking a moment ago, the sort of school that could provide a few more opportunities. I hope that helps a little bit.
Yeah, I did.
cool. I'm going to continue the video then.
Okay.
Good way to create diversity and opportunity, Luis Alvarado disagrees.
With my younger sisters who were forced to bus from a very Latino neighborhood into districts where they felt that they were being segregated on other circumstances. You know, they didn't feel that they were part of that community.
Read page 2 now.
Pio Pico Elementary School is in a low-income, predominantly Latino community of Santa Ana, 50 kilometers from Los Angeles. School administrators say there are benefits to being a part of the majority.
I wouldn't say that we're segregated. I would say we're predominantly Latino. With that come opportunities, I think, as well. I think that when you are the majority, you don't know limitations.
At Pio Pico Elementary, classes are taught in English and Spanish. Beyond exposing students to other ethnicities, educators say policymakers, parents, teachers, and students need to work together to overcome the income and ethnic divide and help young people succeed. Elizabeth Lee for VOA News, Los Angeles.
We even have extra.
All right. So hopefully you guys got the gist of that video. I'm going to go through the questions and it'll pretty much explain out the video. So I'm going to go to here. Right. And I'll scroll to the bottom. So I'm filling this out for the first video because it's the one I chose. But the first questions are pretty easy on here. So what category is the video from?
What was it? The second one?
Yeah.
Second?
So you can see on there, category 2. So I'd put down category 2, Hispanic/Latino Americans.
I'm going to take a picture of this.
Sure, yeah. And then I'll have it finished out, so hopefully that'll help. Also on here was getting the title of the video. So it's being a bit slow here. Do you guys see what the title is?
Yeah.
So what is it?
Study finds Latino students most segregated in California.
Right. So all I'll do here is I can copy like that. And then I can just paste it in like this. Cool. So I've got the first part down there. And do be taking note about the titles of the videos because this will help out the question. So what is the ethnic/racial group in the video?
Hispanic/Latino Americans.
Right. So I'd put Hispanic/Latino Americans. Sorry for all the typos. That's how I usually am. Were the focus of the video. And then why did you pick the group? Now I kind of, chose for you guys, but let's just say if you were to choose one from like Hispanic and Latinos, why would you choose from that category?
Maybe because it's your race. I don't know.
So yeah, it could be built on your ancestry. It could just also be, or maybe you're interested in learning more about this group.
Yeah.
Are you guys interested in learning more about Hispanic and Latinos, like within Sacramento?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's something I'd put in here.
Can I offer up something real quick?
Sure.
I want to throw out some possibilities about why you might look at Latinos on that one. One, are there a lot of Latinos at Kennedy?
Yeah.
Okay. Two, do you think there are a lot of Latinos in Sacramento in general?
Yes.
Yeah.
Three, are they a growing group in the state of California?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And four, do they always, like, do Latinos always speak the same language as we do?
No.
So do you see how any one of those might be a potential reason for why you might have chosen this group?
Mm-hmm.
Pick which one of those you think is most valuable for you. Why?
Yeah.
Which one of those would you say, yeah, this is why I wanted to look at this group? If it is your group, then you can say, yeah, this is my group. This is why I chose that.
Yeah. I'm just writing down examples here, but you're saying ancestry in your neighborhood. Maybe you're just interested in learning more about the group, stuff like that.
Maybe you have a friend who's Latino and you're like, man, I don't know anything about Latino culture. Like,
yeah, it can be easy as that. And then for the challenges this ethnic racial group experienced or has been experiencing. So in that video, what was the issue there?
Segregation.
Segregation, right. Did you hear about what types of segregation it was?
Moving kids from lower income neighborhoods into higher income schools.
Right. So if it's based on like schools, where does that fall under then? Like, is this segregation based on education then?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's part of something I get in here. There's more to this, but that's what I'd add on here. So I would add the video focused on segregation within education in California. But I'd probably need to get more in detail about that. So we talked about it when I paused the video, but what did we talk about? What was the, when they were moving those like Latino students to like higher income areas?
Busing.
Busing, right. So I won't write it out all the way here because you guys can do that, but you could talk about busing in here. Also just, I mean, speaking broadly, we're focusing on ethnicity and race. What other segregation is going on here then? They said something in the video about Latinos being the most blank.
Being the most, like lower income, I think.
Wasn't that?
Oh, shit.
Carmona Veth, did you get anything?
I don't even remember at this point.
Okay, let's see. Veth, did you get anything?
See, this is something if I would probably review the video.
Yeah.
So
and as I said, yeah, you can go through the videos again, or there's no restrictions on that. I'll talk about here, but you guys should expand upon this more. It is talking about racial segregation as well. So I'm gonna just put the idea here. This isn't a complete answer. This is just an idea of one. And you would need to explain this out. But the video was talking about how Latinos are the most racially or the most segregated group, and that means, and that's, we kind of talked about with like busing and also Brown versus Board of Education, that specific minority groups like this are being or have historically been segregated from like the white population. Do you think that segregation, like that segregation between races, do you think that exists where we are, like in Sacramento?
Yes.
Most likely.
Do you guys see it around your neighborhoods or anything?
No.
Are your neighborhoods like pretty diverse then, or? Yeah, I mean, it could be different from all of you, but in my experience, like I would totally say there's segregation where I'm from because, I mean, predominantly it's mainly white people here, and it's mainly white people in the suburbs. And then like the lower income residents are not within the same area. So that legacy of segregation is a very real thing. So that would, I mean, that would pretty much cover this question. But of course, you need to get more in depth here with like a full sentence response.
You mind if I ask you a couple quick questions?
Sure.
What I'm wondering about with you guys is that I'm wanting you guys to think about if you were a Latino in one of these areas where the neighborhood school might not have been able to provide the same opportunities, might not, that's the key part, might not be able to provide you the same opportunities as your local one, but you're able to be more around the people who you're more familiar with, who share your racial and ethnic background. Which one would you pick?
I would choose the one with higher education. That gives you more options.
And do you feel that that would be the one in the like predominantly white, higher income level community, or would your opportunity be greater with people of your similar racial and ethnic background?
I say higher income.
Yeah, I say higher income too.
Yeah, it's a hard question though, huh?
Yeah.
Did you hear how they were taught in their neighborhood schools?
Well, they were like learning English and Spanish.
Yeah. So they get to maintain that part of their culture and heritage too, correct?
Yeah.
Whereas at that newer school that they might not have even had a choice to go to, do you think that they're teaching Spanish there?
Yeah. Well,
as a formal class, maybe.
Yeah.
But in their regular instruction, in like a science class?
No.
Probably not, right? Yeah. Anyway, just curious what your thoughts were.
On the last question, we touched on this, but just with the ethnic and racial group in the video, which was Hispanic and Latinos, are there members of that group in your neighborhood?
Yeah.
Is it like a sizable amount, or is it just like a few small families or something like that?
Sizable? Nah, not sizable.
Few
families.
Okay. Do you guys really know about like the people that live in your neighborhoods or in your areas?
No.
Would you like to know more about that? That'd be something you'd, okay. That's something we might get into in later weeks, so I hope you can stay interested in that.
Okay.
But answering this first part of the question, it's gonna depend on your own group. For myself, I would say, yes, there are members, not yes, yes, there are members of this group in my neighborhood, but maybe that it's a small amount. And I would get specific about what you mean by a small amount, like maybe 3 families, maybe you have a friend, something like that.
Okay.
And then we also talked about this last part here, but what about the ethnic/racial group would you like to know more about? So for Hispanics and Latinos, what would you like to know more about them?
I don't even know. I would like to know a lot.
So what's like one of the things I would be interested in would be like an income, because do you think there's going to be differing levels of like income and money between racial groups here?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's something I would be curious about. And Mr. Williams mentioned it, but do you think Hispanics and Latinos in Sacramento, do you think the size of that group is going to grow, or is that going to go smaller?
Maybe grow.
Maybe grow? Yeah, if it's a growing group, then I mean there's some stuff you should probably want to know about that group.
Yeah.
So something along those lines, maybe as an example, I'd put an income. Maybe I want to know what religion they follow, culture, backgrounds, stuff like that. And of course, of all of these, you'd write these out as like full sentences here. But for this assignment, unless there's any other questions with this is how you would fill it out. You would write out full complete sentences here, but that's pretty much how you would do it. Is there any questions about the assignment itself?
No, but I will take a picture.
Okay.
Just make sure you put the stuff in your own words, bud.
Yeah. So I'll do that. Let me know when I'm good to move on here then.
You can move on.
Okay. So stop screen sharing here because we only have a small group here. Yeah. There we go. So that's gonna be the assignment for this week. I did want to go over some discussion questions, but I think we kind of have too small of a group to go over it. We can just have a kind of brief discussion on it. But yeah, so for this week, you have that assignment due. We're going to change the Ed Puzzle assignment or upload a separate thing for it because I know some of you guys are having difficulties with it. And then you also have those attendance surveys every day.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah. And all of those will be due on Friday.
Monday through Friday. Okay.
Yeah, and as I said about, there was discussion questions I wanted to get into, but I'll just leave it at one that we can have some brief discussion on. Out of the categories of the groups that were shown, I moved away from them, but what ethnic/racial group do you know the least about?
Do you guys need a reminder of the different groups?
Yeah, please.
Sure. So I can just screen share on here probably. Yeah, I'll just do that on this so you guys can see it. So category 1 is going to be Asians, Pacific Islanders, and Muslim Americans. So that covers a lot. So that includes like South Asian with like Indians as well. But that's what that's going to cover. Category 2 is Hispanic and Latino Americans. 3 is Black and African Americans. That's also pretty broad. Category 4 is European descent. And then category 5 is Native American. So out of all of those, which do you know the least about then?
European descent.
European descent? Okay. So is there anything you want to know about that then?
Does it do with the headset your teacher?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
The white dude with the headset is your teacher.
Yes.
Chris, you can mute that for a sec. I would appreciate that.
Oh.
That has to be Travis.
So you chose European descent, right, Carmon?
Yeah.
Okay. So, because we're pointing out stuff for the later weeks, is there anything you want to know about that group? Like, or do you want to know like how they came into Sacramento?
Yeah, and their like background.
Okay. Yeah, that's something we can get into. And then when I mean by European descent, that's going to mean people coming broadly from Europe, but it's also meaning broadly people who are typically white. But then again, that's a general concept of race. Chris, if your whole discussion's done, is there any category you're interested in or you know the least about?
The one I know least about is probably European national, probably Hispanic and Latino.
Hispanic and Latino?
Yeah.
Okay. So I would recommend for these groups, if they're the ones you know the least about, actually we just did this one together, but I would recommend choosing one of these groups for the activity. We already did it together, but I hope that gives you some idea about the backgrounds there. Do you think that issue Latino students were having with busing and segregation, do you think that's exclusive to Hispanics and Latinos?
No.
Yeah. I won't get too in depth on it, but this is something that goes beyond just one group. This is something that's facing a lot of groups.
Okay.
Again, think of Meadowview, like we brought up a moment ago.
Mm. Okay.
It's not
That's where I live, so.
No.
There we go.
I'm going to stop the screen sharing here. That's pretty much all I wanted to cover on here. Besides that, before I just wrap things up here, did you guys have any questions for this week, where we're going, how to do anything?
No.
You guys answered it all.
What was that, Carmon?
You have answered them all.
Oh, that's good. Chris, anything?
No.
Yvette, I know you've been muted in here, but is there anything?
No.
Okay. Cool.
Chris about to go get on that Xbox. I already know.
No, I'm good. I'm going to my garage.
What's in there, Chris?
A skateboard.
Skateboard? Nice.
Oh, okay. Do you longboard?
No.
Oh, I used to longboard, so. Yeah. Besides that, just a reminder on the due dates. All of our work's gonna be due Friday. So we got the assignment this week. We got the ed puzzle assignments if you didn't finish them or had issues with it. And then we have those daily attendance surveys each day for this week. And that should be it.
For those ed puzzle things.
Yeah.
Are you guys gonna fix that so I can do it?
Yeah. We've been trying with it. We've been problem solving with it. As I said, if it doesn't work, tomorrow I'm going to upload just a Google Doc that has the same exact questions, and you would fill out there and get it'd be pretty much the same assignment.
Okay.
Carmel, so just to clarify what that's going to look like is, was it just Carmona or was it another student too, Mr. Whitaker?
Several students were having it. It seemed pretty much everyone got in. But
So what?
Chris, I was just going to ask, Chris, did you get in?
No.
Okay.
Then what we're going to do, guys, is that all those ed puzzle videos come from YouTube. So what we're going to do is we're going to post the links straight to the YouTube videos, and then there will be a Google document for all 3 videos on one document. So then you can answer the questions on those on that document and access it through YouTube instead of Edpuzzle. And it shouldn't be a problem there. But that will be posted by no later than tomorrow, if not later today.
Yeah.
That'll be up later today for you guys to do it that way. So again, you will not need to go through Edpuzzle anymore. You will go straight to YouTube. But all the links for those YouTube videos and the document will be up on Google Classroom later today.
Okay.
Cool. I think that should cover it then, unless there's any last minute comments or questions.
Nah.
All right. Well, I appreciate you guys being here today. I know we had a pretty small group, but I do appreciate being able to talk with you guys. Well, not see you guys in this case, but it was good getting a chance to talk with you guys. And it seems like you guys are doing pretty well, so I'm glad to hear that. All right. If there isn't anything else, I'll end it here.
See you guys next week at 1:30.
All right. See you guys.
Bye-bye.
Me and Mr. Williams are going to stay here, so if you guys can just individually leave.
Hey, how do you individual